I love customizing tech to better suit my needs. I've noticed my tools aren't stored where I use them. The supplies aren't stored efficiently, and that simple changes could have maximum impact on a space. By the end of this video, this drawer has to be completely empty so that in the future, I can put a computer inside. 5090. Did someone just say 5090? I've also run out of space for my 3D printing filament, and I don't like this pegboard system because thin rolls fall, and so I'm not gonna print anymore. And since this is my garage, I need to optimize the space around all my hobbies and different things. Bro, this is what we need to fix next. And to help with creating all of the custom parts that I need today, Creality have sponsored today's video with their 60-watt Falcon 2 Pro laser cutter, which will vaporize material to create the custom brackets and mounts. So welcome to Makerspace Makeover Part 2. It's been like a year since Part 1, so even I've forgotten what we did. Last year, my home garage setup was an overflowing, disorganized mess. And so my brother Brad helped me remove everything and then helped me not only relocate my workbenches, but use shelving units to create a new massive workbench, which provided much needed space for my machines on top and below. How much better is that? But I was yet to add drawers next to the 3D printers and cut down can storage so it wouldn't be hit by the data cabinet swinging open. And with that being the simplest starting point for a quick win, we'll start there. Shelves. I like to keep them basic. I've just whacked up what I think Americans call 2x4s on the wall for my cans and bottles. But I can't use a basic flat shelf for 3D print filament. Trying to grab one from the middle of the stack is a pain, and if they're upright, well then they just roll off. I've come up with an idea. French cleat system. I go bang across there, French cleat, lock this on, slide it down, put some holes, poles through holes. All right, you heard the drill. I need some poles. I found one I can cut in half for 16 bucks, and then some holes to put it through. And the laser cutter has my back on that. Oh, heck yeah! Even a little bit tighter. See, I came across this Reprack open source spool holder system. And so I referenced that design to create a slimmed down version that fits on the 19mm thick piece of pine that I have, which the 60-watt diode laser can slice through in a single pass. Whoa! Look how thick that is. I'm really enjoying this. Using metal and wood. Guess this is the normal roll. Oh bro, that's gonna be so good. Look at me, I'm like a human CNC machine, just carving away from wood, resulting in a chamfered edge and this wood becoming French, cleat-able. Okay, up, angled, move across a little bit, down, there. Oh, the metal slides so well. I like it a lot. I'm jealous of those that can organize easily because my stuff is in either a box or a container somewhere in this room. So I really just want a proper sorting system. I'm just most excited to get my screws in one spot. Before you suggest it, yes, I'm going to use Gridfinity bins, the 3D printed organization standard, but I have one problem with them. Now, the Gridfinity tubs can be stacked on top of each other, so you can do double decker. But I'm not a huge fan of stuff like that because I forget that when I put something on top of another thing, that there's something below it. This has got tools in here. I haven't seen these in 2 years because I just see this on top and I'm like, oh, that's what's in that area of the drawer. That makes sense. If I don't see it, I forget it exists. So I want to minimize double decker. I also have an idea that combines laser cutting with the 3D printed bins. We'll get to that. Oh, bro, that's been there for a while. Some of the best money that I've spent in this room were on these SteadyRack bike racks. I played Twister with my bikes on the floor to figure out the exact height difference so that the handlebars would go through the frame of the other at stud width apart. But they're not perfect. So the main reason why this bike rack system is great is I can open this door, go outside, or if we want space, when the door's closed, swing the bikes out, And then they take up the space where the door swings. So now we can actually use this plier box in like the gym setup. The problem we need to fix is this bit here. So the mount that's on the wall is like a U shape for the tire to go in. But when I push the bike against the wall, there's a high chance the left side will push directly on a spoke. So you have to like consciously make sure that you're putting the spoke between the U. Now, when I was researching ideas for the Gridfidity system, which we'll get to, I saw this great vid by Alan where he's trying to fit his lenses in a drawer. His solution was to laser cut multiple pieces of 2D foam to create a 3D mount for his lens. I'm thinking, damn, the tire is like a lens. I can just recreate that for the wall, but just use like the letter J. In you come, Boost. Welcome, sir. Now for the cherry on top. Hot damn. Whenever I was charging my e-bike, I had to step over its cable to get out the door, and it would seem someone else with the same bike as me made wall mounts. Combining them with an extra long power cable threaded behind the can shelf through the data cabinet into a power plug, I can now grab the charger, plug the bike in, and before I used to have a charger cable going across here, well now I can open the door, hello boys, without the charger being in the way. Or swing the bike out of the way whilst it's charging and use the plier box when we're using the home gym. So that is like really freaking cool. In 2022, I used majority spare wood and offcuts to create a cabinet with vertical storage for my laser cutter material. But after saving up some cash, I finally bought myself a set of drawers. That has to fit in there. I've been saving my failed 3D prints to one day recycle, and it's kind of like this cabinet in itself. It was made with wood offcuts, but I also still want a piece from it. And a quick measurement got me really excited that this was going to work. Oh. Mate, look how close this is. Oh yeah. But will the new drawers fit? There is about a 10mm gap from the width of the tool trolley. So I can slide it in between these two pieces and then like slide it back in, be like a 3-point turn in a car, if that makes sense. With wheels on, the drawers were too tall, and with wheels off, they were too heavy to sit on the shelving unit's shelf. So I created some supports to bear the weight. And since that wood top would stick out where it's going, I used some black tape to make it blend in. Finally, with Chelsea's help, we're able to do the 3-point turn, and it was in. Hey, it's in. Oh my days, bro. Just look how well that fits. That's why it felt a little bit harder to get off. Glue and tabs. The bottom drawers happen to be the perfect depth to store my humidity sensitive filaments. Now, if you're considering a laser cutter, make sure you have a plan for the smoke and fumes. For over a year now, I've been using this ducted fan to outside, but I hope to one day put it up through the roof. Well, that's not good. Oh, I need to turn the heater on. For a moment there, I thought this wasn't going to work, but I remembered they have a child lock safety key. There we go. Now to create the parts that I've made, I first had to run some tests on this machine off my laptop as it has no Wi-Fi or LAN, and Creality's new Falcon Design software, which is in beta, was a lot easier to learn than Lightburn, so it's good to have the option.
Like, can we just freaking beam a big chunk of plywood?
I originally planned to use some 12mm plywood that I had, but no matter the speed or number of passes I did, it kept getting too hot, flaming, and charring. It was low quality with thick layers of glue. But at 7mm thicker, the 19mm thick piece of pure pine that I used for the filament racks was a clean cut.
You did it! Look how thick this pine is! What the heck? 180 speed, 100% power. That's just solid wood.
So when it came time to test the thinner material for the tool inserts, I considered disabling some of the laser beams in the head, going down to more precise 40 or 20 watt total power. Heck, they even have a 1.6 watt module, which is a really thin beam for precise engraving. But by using the thicker, maximum power beam, I got a cleaner cut.
Yeah, that chopped so well. Okay.
Oh, there's like no soot. Like normally you'll have like soot left over. The air assist, but also the thicker, more powerful laser beam. And I am praying that this tub here is empty. I can't remember. They're not sorted. No! Oh my gosh, bro. I want to be done. And that means this is done. Oh, it feels good. Like, it's just something so satisfying about that. I'm gonna forget I just saw that. With everything sorted into bins, we were finally ready for what will make this makerspace marvelous. This segment could be a video in itself, so just lock in, bro, because we're gonna blitz it. I noticed certain tools just ended up in different areas because that's where I use them. So I rearranged the main workbench drawer to have my go-to tools at the front. So for the plastic bins, I found on Makeover, the Gridfinity extended by OStat has a customized button which opens a parametric modeler so you can easily customize every dimension and parameter through a web browser. Most importantly, turn on efficient floor for minimal plastic, which also creates a flat surface for the laser cut wood to sit on top of. As for 3D printing, Prusa sponsored the channel with their Core 1 3D printer, which I used in my previous project, which combined with their Signal White PETG filament has worked great with their software presets, especially with the New Balance profile that has greatly increased print quality in a recent major update. As for the grid itself, I used Perplexing Labs generator into the dimensions of my drawer and selected the minimal grid style. Now that my drawer has the Gridfinity grid, I can dock the bins in place. My strategy is simple: plastic for permanent, just use generic bins, and laser cut wood for potential change. That's custom tool inserts within the plastic bins. If I change tools, I can burn the wood or it'll break down in the ground. But how do I combine the wood with the plastic? Well, with this video being sponsored by Creality and their Falcon 2 Pro 60 watt model,
This is a whopper.
we're using it. While some assembly is required, it is straightforward. I just wish they wouldn't bolt parts over protective plastic. So now we need the designs for the laser cutter to vaporize. Okay, you ready? Grab your 3D model and upload it to Kirimoto. This free online 3D modeler has a laser cut mode, which allows me to take a cross-section of the 3D model and export to SVG. Import that SVG into Creality's Falcon software. Ungroup the two paths and delete the outside edge. Select the inside edge and offset the path by about 0.5 millimeter, so when I laser cut the wood, it's not too tight in the plastic bin.
That's a perfect fit.
Now here's the magic. I laid out my tools on an A4 page, took a photo and imported that into Tooltrace AI. After selecting the A4 page for scale, an algorithm creates paths of my tools. After exporting these to an SVG vector path, I can import them into the Falcon Pro software, align them with the previously used path for the base. But for some reason the dimension is off, so I went back to Tooltrace AI, grabbed the dimension and typed it directly into the lasercut software. And that process gives me a custom lasercut toolpath from wood. So what's the catch? Well, like most AI tools, if it doesn't work, it takes a lot more human hours to clean up and fix. Surprisingly, my white Stanley knife on a white page worked pretty good, but when I wanted to enforce symmetry on my deburring tool, it flipped it to the wrong end. So I manually traced its swivel head in Inkscape. But for my soldering iron, it did exceptionally well. And for my tubs, I just recreated the plain circles. Friendly reminder, if you use the laser cutter incorrectly, it could permanently blind you. Now, Creality say this is a class 1 laser due to the enclosure, but since there are gaps and holes in that shield, you will have seen me wear my own optical density 7 Plus laser goggles for extra eye protection, especially because I can see blue light coming through the enclosure's blue laser shield. Depending on where you live, when you click the link in the description below, you'll get different pricing. For me, the Creality Falcon 2 Pro 60 watt model is around 4,500 Australian. I've also used the cheaper 40 watt model to create custom leather cut cable ties, and I'll link that video at the end of this one. So far, I'm stoked with how this has all come together. The small things like the e-bike charger to the filament storage and not worrying about them falling off the wall anymore is great. To my own set of drawers that blend in perfectly. But there was one piece to figure out. Check this out. I'll put this into the bin with this border. It would look good, but the border will eventually fall down to the bottom. So I've got these little slats left and right side, then take the border and place it on top. It doesn't fall down. That looks so freaking clean. I can't believe how organized everything is now. What this process has taught me is that I am a creature of habit. And so if I was putting something in some place, I've just been doing that for the past like 6 years, even though I've moved things around. And so having this entire like overhaul, putting all my cables in one bin, all my bolts in one area, putting the tools I need for the 3D printers next to the 3D printers, it's small changes, but I'm already like loving it. Like it just makes sense. And obviously it takes being in the right headspace to be able to take that step back and evaluate and rearrange and take the time to organize. But mate, does it look bloody good? From where we wrapped in part 1, it doesn't look a whole lot different, but it feels a lot better having everything organized. Well, not everything. I ain't gonna front, this is my house after all. I've got tools and piles that I need to sort through. But that's a future cam problem, because remember this drawer? That's right, I cleared all the tools out of it so it can fit a PC inside. Make sure you're subscribed, because if everything goes to plan with the pile of parts that I have, then next week I'm gonna build a workbench PC like nothing I've seen before.